Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to be doing some trim work. I'm going to show you some good tricks to making it look professional. We'll go over some steps on ways to cut it, certain ways to do it that honestly most trim guys don't even know how to do. So I'm going to show you those tricks and things that will make your life a lot easier. So to start out, we got our casing that will go on the door, baseboard, floor, and usually we'll start out with casing. So we're going to do that, but before we do that, I'm going to show you what tools I meant by when I say it's a lot easier. That would be circular saw. Now a lot of guys say circular saw is not good enough to make good clean trim, and they're absolutely wrong. You don't need a miter saw. It's pretty simple. I would advise though, if you've never used the circular saw, this is probably not a good method for you because you need a little practice with it. But if you have used one, I'm going to show you the tricks to honestly a lot faster cutting and just as clean cutting as a compound miter saw. So let's get started. Okay, so just so you know, we are starting in a bedroom that's going to get carpet. So anytime you're doing that, you want spacing off of your floor. So we're going to start with the basics. I'm just going to show you kind of the basics how to use this saw with trim, and we will go from there. Okay, so this is just a standard piece, a strip of MDF material. So to get your spacing on the floor, it's pretty much about 3/8 spacing. So what it is, just mark 3/8, and then you're gonna come here. This is kind of the starting of how you use the circular saw on trim. So you just pick your square up here, set it against that edge, and let's see if I can get this. You just gotta line it up to where the blade's gonna line up with that, and then you cut away, and it should cut a nice clean strip. So get 2 of those strips for both sides of your trim, and then what I do is I just basically mark, scribble on it, just make sure it's not trash piece. That's for sample. So let's start with the casing, and we will go show you how to shoot that on, and we'll go from there. Okay, so real quick, before we even start the casing, what I do is just cut some sample blocks, because when you're putting that up, this will go on the left side to test the gappage. Let's go on the right side. Just keep them in my pocket, and you'll understand in a minute or two what I mean with sample blocks. Okay, so here's our door opening. So what you're gonna wanna do is, just got my sample block. Just gonna come down here, put it on the floor. Actually, before you do that, I wanna just show you. So what I do is, it's not the fanciest of house. I'll come here and just mark kind of where I think it will land. If you want it perfect, you can also take like a 1/4 inch sample block, set it there, and then I can't do that with one hand, but obviously mark a mark, mark a mark. But I've been doing this a while, pretty confident on my gapping, so we'll just do that. I'm gonna come over here, mark that, and then get your sample. And obviously just measure off the block. You're gonna start with the left and right sides. So just measure off your block, come up to this point, and then your 45, obviously will go that way. If you're newer to trimming, it's always good to mark marks like that just to visualize it. And then we'll do the same on the piece of casing. Okay, so we're at our casing. One thing I want to note is this will be cut because it's so much rounded and stuff. A lot easier to cut off the backside, but I will mark the front so people that don't do this a lot can kind of understand a little easier. So we're gonna come off the flat part. This is gonna be for our left sided one. And what I pulled was 81 and 7/16. So you're gonna come here, 81, 7/16. And like I said, since that's for the left side, it's gonna come up, 45 is gonna come up this way. So it's always good just mark like that so you're not confused. Then what I'm gonna do, now that I know my direction, I'm over here, get my mark, and now I know it's coming up this way. Now that I got my mark, you're gonna come over here, and I can't do, unfortunately, do the cut with both holding the camera and my square, but I'm gonna give you an idea. Line up your square like that. That's gonna automatically be a 45, and then you just line it up to your pencil mark and you cut away. So I'm gonna get that cut. Then we'll do the other side. Alright, so we're here with the right side one. This one's measuring about 81. It's about 81 and 5/16. So same concept. Hold on, let me. You're gonna bring your tape, get your mark, and then anytime you're on the right side ones, when you do the flip, I'm just kind of ballparking just to show you. When I do the flip, it's always a lot easier to cut the right side ones with the square, because when you put your 45 up there, the saw blade will automatically line up with your mark. But even when you're doing the left side ones, you'll get used to it. Do a couple of practice runs, and trust me when I say, once you get used to that circular saw, you won't turn back. Trust me. I'll even show you how to do it on the base, and again, a lot faster, and you can definitely get clean edges. So I'm gonna get this cut. I'm gonna show you how to nail it, and then we'll show you how to do the top piece. Okay, before we do casing, I just wanted to show what makes it easier to do this is I pin up my guard. I just want to throw out the disclaimer, I'm not responsible for any injuries. I will say this, that I only do that with my battery circular saw. The quarter ones are way too strong and they kick really easily. These ones, if you have a decent grip, they tend to not kick, and obviously you gotta keep a distance. But I wanted to throw that out there because I'm not responsible for your injuries. Alright, well, I don't have a helper with me, so it's gonna be kind of a weird view, but really I don't need to zoom in. There's just a couple tips you need to know. And honestly, casing's pretty easy. It's really the baseboard there's parts that are tricky, but let's get started. So this is for my right side one. Again, that sample block I was talking about. We start by just lining it up and put that sample block there to see, make sure my gapping's good. This honestly looks pretty good. So my first shot, it's not gonna be up here at the top. You're gonna bring it down like a foot. That way, when you do your top piece, you can squeeze or push back whatever little give and take you need. So I'm gonna shoot all the way down. Just spaces of, I don't know, foot and a half. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on this other side. I'm gonna take my other sample block. Don't forget you're putting your casing on your block down below. Same thing, testing it. Okay, that's good. Coming down a foot. shooting all the way down. Okay, we got our 2. We're just gonna simply measure end to end, and what I do is I'll add, usually we'll add, this is reading about 30/2. I'm probably gonna go 30 and 9/16. I add a tiny bit extra because, again, like I said, you could push that or squeeze it in. So let's get that piece cut. Okay, I want to show this the best I can so I'm not to confuse you. So the best way to cut this with where you set it up, where you have that easy cut mark, is the right side of your casing. So this is my top part. That would be the right side. So you're gonna flip it over. And before you don't even need to get your measurement because you're automatically gonna cut your 45 on the right side. So again, just line it up, guide your saw to cut it. And then let's get that cut and then I'll show you how to mark it, easy ways to mark it. Okay, so there's usually 2 good ways you can mark your mark. And again, that's the right side. One way is you just hook it onto the edge of something. This is sawhorses, and then that will line that up. That's not a bad way. If you don't have something like a sawhorse, you can drop it on the floor here. And this is called burning an inch. So you'll take it and because this doesn't hook obviously, you come out here to the 1 mark. Spread out your tape. So mine's locked. I'm gonna come out here to the 1 mark. Do your normal measurement. Let's say mine's 30/2. When you're burning, you always add an inch. So mine's gonna be 31.5. And then again, if it's hooked on the sawhorse, it'll be normal measurement, but when it's on the 1, you add an inch every time. So I'm gonna get that marked, cut the same way as I did the left and rights, and then we'll go up top and we'll show you how that looks. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that is my left side mark. Obviously, when it's upside down, it'll be right, but I just wanted to show you how I do it, just so you can get a feel. So again, it's just like doing the scribe blocks. You just got a line. Let's see if I can get that in there. So line it up to your mark, and you see the blade hit the mark. That's just on 45. Voila. So let's get that up. Okay, so I got mine up there. It's kind of hard to see. I'll zoom in a minute. I'm just gonna start by lining. I usually do my left side. Just line it up nice and tight. It should land on there pretty good. And then I'm gonna tack one at the top here. Top in the middle. And we're gonna come over here. And mine's falling a little short, so all we're gonna do, like I said, that's why you leave the room. This can move back and forth to get you a nice, tight setup. So squeeze, I'm gonna shoot that one, I'm gonna shoot that one in the middle. Okay, so now that I've gotten all my, hard to see, around there is where you're gonna hit the stud. Once it's all clean, I'm gonna come around the edge and I'm gonna shoot it into the door jamb here. And you don't need a ton of them. I'll usually do 3 per tall piece. And maybe 2 for the top, again 3, but I'm not gonna go all the way around. I'll show you. Okay, I've gone around and shot on my nails. Now it's time to just look. Our angles are looking pretty clean, not bad. So what I'm gonna do, most trim guys don't do this, but we're just gonna take a bead of caulking, just glop it on there. Maybe not glop, but a little bead. And then take your finger, just gonna rub it around. And take a rag and make sure these are the most important ones to get. Don't want them gooping up. But again, just nice and clean. And I'm gonna do the other side. And for the most part, I mean, that's pretty paint ready. Obviously, not your nail holes, but your edges are nice and clean now. All right, so I don't have time to show you my entire trim job, but I'm gonna show you the hardest part of doing baseboard. It's only like 3 different things that are really hard on it. The rest is pretty straightforward. So let's get started. So sit in because we have, carpet. I got that lined up in there. So I'm gonna show you how to do an inner 45, outer 45. And then later on, I'll show you how to do, there's a couple different angles with doing trim. It's good to know about, but I'll get to that later. So for starters, we'll just do the 2. So like I said, drawing lines on it helps you if you're newer to this. It's always good to visualize. So, let's see if I can do this without confusing you. All right, so again, we have to do backside because this is too bumpy. So we're just dropping, this is our inner corner. We're dropping that down. You're gonna put your circular saw to 45 degrees. And then same concept as the other things. Let's see if I can do this without put it on the edge. And again, if you have that mark to kind of show you what direction you need to go, you'll understand which direction the blade needs to go. So mine will tilt in like that. So it'll be pretty much like that. So I'm gonna cut that and then I'll show you from there. Okay, so that's what your inner corner is going to look like once it's cut. So let's bring it over here. Tuck it back in there. Now, I mean, obviously you can measure and do this. I'm just doing this to show you that the inner. I just marked the back side. When you put your square on it, you want to bring it out. Just bring it like a 1/16 larger. So it'll come up. Now remember, you're doing outer, so it's gonna go out. And then same concept. Got the outer. Mark the square. And then because I already know what direction the blade's gonna go, but just bring it up here with your square. Then line it up, and again, just mark the marks so you know what direction. So I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna come over here, and we're gonna do that side. And we're not nailing anything yet because that's the trick I'm gonna show you. A lot of times people get frustrated on how to make the angle, but I'll show you a really easy way. All right, so we're here with both pieces. Same concept on that side. We have an inner, outer. Of course, the one example I show you guys, this wall is dipped way in, but not a big deal because I'm just trying to show you how to get these. So once you're pretty lined up, pretty comfortable, it looks decent. This is the trick I wanted to show you. And it is hot glue. Hot glue can be your best friend when you're going around corners like that. And again, there's another angle I was going to show you guys where hot glue comes in handy. So let me get the camera set up and I will show you how to do this. Okay, so before I hot glue, I just wanted to show you just so you're a little more comfortable with the cut. So that's going to be an outer. You can already see I cut an outer. Just wanted to show you another time. So I literally am just, let's see if I can get this best angle. It's just guiding me. Boom, clean. So let's hot glue. So what you want to do is got the 2 lined up. With one, you take this is my left hand, squeeze both ends, put that in the middle, and then just do it before you glue it. Just do kind of a test. Okay, that looks pretty solid. hot glue's right here under me. So you're gonna basically run a bead more towards the back side because you don't want a bunch of hot glue squeezing out. So nice clean bead. Jump up here, push, rub around. That's pretty good. And like I said, if you're newer to this or feel a little uncomfortable, do a couple tests. But yeah, this one turned out pretty clean. And just like the casing, just gonna want to come here, blob some caulking, scrape it on, and then grab that rag, and voila. Now you have yourself a nice clean 45. Real quick, so one other thing I wanted to mention, not only are you gluing the edge there, but once that dries cleanly, come on the back side and just do a thin strip of hot glue. It just gives it a little more strength. But yeah, pretty easy. Just wanted to show you how I'm getting my angles. So I'm just loosening that, spinning to 45 when I get to 45, and then 22.5 is actually not necessarily on there, but let's see if I can see, if you see that pencil mark, I just marked 22.5. All right, we're back at our piece. Looking pretty good. Again, this wall's pretty jacked up, but the trim itself is sitting on there nicely. I'm not gonna worry about that. I'll end up shooting it in more. I just wanted to show you guys an example of how to do the 45s. So I got my thing on the blocks. It's already glued. Usually you want to come out here and start at the edge here because there's always a stud there. And then usually I would nail this in too, but yeah, like I said, I got to fix that. But after you get your side studs, just take a stud finder. There you go. Just do one and one. And that's about it for inner and outer. Let me show you. I had cut inner piece. Another inner piece just to give you an idea. Boom. And sometimes if I have shorter inners, I'll hot glue those as well. But that's pretty good for paint grade. You can easily caulk that and it'll look pretty nice. Alright, so real quickly before we get to the last parts, I wanted to show you how to caulk an inner corner. It's a little different. And then I was going to show you a different method to doing an inner corner in case, say your walls are messed up, your floor, and these are just looking pretty gapped. There is a second method you can do. And what you do is start by cutting it like an inner corner. Then you're going to take your circular saw and cut to there. And then you're going to take your jigsaw here and just cut to the curvature of the white. It's going to look like that. So this side will have the curvature. The other side, I'm just doing this on this tile just to show you. Other side will go in straight. And let's see if I can line that up. It's kind of off, but there you go. Gives you an idea. So yeah, if you're having weird shaped floors, this usually will help. Second method. And then to caulk an inner corner, you're just gonna run a clean bead, nothing too fast. You're gonna take your finger, run it up. Gently, you're pushing in a little, but you're also going gently. And there, and then you might have to squeeze them in, and then to finish it up, just keep wetting your finger and smoothing out, especially in the little crevice here. But yeah, just wet your finger, smooth out. Wet your finger, smooth. And there you have it. All right, so let's most likely if you're doing a full house or a full basement, something like that, full floor, you're gonna run into a weird looking wall like this. Oftentimes it's half of a 45, which is a 22 half. But it's not always that. You're gonna have to figure out which angle. And by doing that, I just cut, these are actually 22 halves, so just put 22. I just cut some inner 22s, 22.5 degrees. And then I figured out there's a lot of 15s in this house. So you just wanna bring your sample block up here. See if I can do this one-handed. Bring it here. And you're gonna find how well it comes together. That one's pretty good. It's got a slight gap, but if you're doing paint, that's pretty clean. Again, like I said, in some areas I actually have 15. It's the same concept. Line it up. And over there, you'll test the same. That's pretty much it for doing trim work. Most of the rest is pretty self-explanatory. But if you have any questions about things you're running into, leave a comment. Thanks, guys.